What's up, YouTube? Here with something different yet again, the upcoming archetype of the spellbooks, or the magicals, or the prophecy. This archetype's absolutely awesome. When you see an archetype that's released with a card you can play 3 copies of that lets you search whatever you want from that archetype, it really perks my interest because of the consistency factor, which Grimoire lets you do. Now, I'll backtrack for a second from this build to where I started with the deck. And this is what it looked like. At the time, not all of the spellbooks had been released, which I felt like was the ones that we have now filled in the gaps that these particular builds were missing. I started off with this build using Temperance with Grimoire. If you activate a spellbook while he's on the field, you contribute him to special level 5 or higher, lighter, dark spellcaster. So you can either get Junon, which is now the High Priestess of Prophecy, or Endymion. The deck was fun. It was tier 2.5 at best. Just wasn't doing the things that I wanted it to. Just toying around. I threw the tour guide engine in it because people always like to say it instantly adds a half tier to whatever you're playing. And I tested it with the Gagagas as well. Because the cool thing about the spellbooks as general, they support all spellcasters, not just themselves. So you can abuse them with a lot of things. Again, the build worked fine. But it wasn't enough to really make it impact on anything. Finally, I sort of went a little bit of a chaos route. I put Geminis in it to utilize Gemini Spark to try and get a little bit more destructive power with a little bit more draw power in the deck. And again, it really just wasn't doing anything. I'd kind of given up on it. But then a couple new spellbooks were released. I was talking with a buddy of mine, and this came to be. Now, at first, my thought as well was 30 spells, 10 monsters, what the fuck is going on? But once it gets broke down and you understand the recyclability and the speed that the deck has, it really starts to make sense. So we start the deck off with Triple Grimoire. This card lets you search any spellbook you want, but you can only do it once per turn. Cool. Absolutely awesome. Rhoda for spells. Then we play Double Tower. Now, Tower is really what brought the archetype together and... well, starts to bring the archetype together and makes the deck run round. So long as the tower is active, during your standby phase, you can send one spellbook from your grave to the bottom of your deck and then draw a card. So now we have one card that lets us both recycle spellbooks back to the deck so that we can search them and use them again, and draw new cards to keep making plays with. That's absolutely awesome. Then to top it off, if tower dies, you can special summon one spellcaster from your hand or deck whose level is equal to or less than the number of spellbook cards that you still have in your graveyard. So you get a lot of plays that can be made off Spellbook Tower. Now, I only play 2 of them because, A, you can search them with Grimoire if need be, and if you banish them for effects that I'll talk about in a minute, you can recycle them back with other effects I'll talk about in a minute, so just bear with it. Then we play 3 Hieroglyph, or Spellbook of Power now. This lets one spellcaster monster gain 1,000 attack, and if it destroys a monster by battle this turn, you can add one spellbook from your deck to your hand. But similar to Grimoire, you can only activate one spellbook of power per turn. We get beat sticks, we get more searchability. Again, awesome. 2 of whatever this is, however you want to pronounce it. This particular spellbook gives a lot of versatility to the deck because it has 3 separate effects. You can banish up to 3 spellbook cards from your graveyard to activate one of the corresponding effects. If you banish 1, you can bounce 1. If you banish 2, Book of Moon, which is typically what I use it for. Or banish 3 to banish 1 card your opponent controls. Now, you'd kind of think, that's kind of like a -3. You play 1 card, and then banish 3 more cards to banish 1 card of your opponent. You could be banishing a power card for them, which is awesome. But by banishing certain spellbooks, you can recycle them back with one of the other spellbooks later. So it really all works in one continuous cycle, which is really awesome. We play Double Necromicon, or Spellbook of Life now that it's been renamed. You banish 1 spellcaster from your graveyard and reveal another spellbook from your hand to special summon 1 spellcaster from your graveyard. That spellcaster gains level equal to the banished monster's level. And that's pretty much it. Again, you can only use 1 Necromicon a turn, but it lets you bring stuff back from the grave, our boss monsters specifically, that I'll get to here in a minute. And that's really what all Necromocon's for. Double Wisdom, versatile spell and trap protection. Chain it to whatever you want, and you're good to go. Whether it's spells or traps, your turn, your opponent's turn, doesn't really matter. We make our boss monsters immune to the outs that our opponent may try to use against us, which is awesome. And finally, our Banished Recycler is Alma. Similar to just about all of them, except for Gotha and Wisdom, and I guess the Tower. You can only use one Alma a turn, but you can add back any banished spellbook card to your hand. So you put them from the graveyard back to the bottom of the deck to be reused and get a draw off Tower. You get searches for whatever you want off Grimoire. You get attack boosts and search for whatever you want off Power. You get either Compulse, Book, or Banish, Dark Core I guess you could call it, off Gotha. You get Call of the Haunted off of Necromocon. You get Spell and Trap Protection off Wisdom. And then for everything you banish, then you get to add those back to use them again off Alma. So all of these spellbooks intertwined together is about flawlessly as you can physically think is possible for a deck to do. To continue to cycle itself and abuse every effect the deck allows you to do. It's absolutely awesome. Now the next 4 cards, or 6 that I'll talk about, is the tech engine of the deck. And those are double Instant Fusion and double E-Telly with Psychic Commander and Psychic Jumper. Now, these give us access to Fusionists, Carbonala Warrior, and Cybersaurus for use with Psychic Jumper and Psychic Commander off of Emergency Teleport to give us access to the trio. We got Spell Negation, we got Trap Negation, and with a 30 spell card deck, Landoise is more live than it will be in any deck you will ever play to negate and destroy whatever effects you want. So having access to that trio, just first off, is absolutely awesome. The final Instant Fusion target is Musician King, because that allows you to have access to Arcanite Magician. Awesome enough, also a spellcaster. You can blow stuff up with him. And I'll get back to a couple other plays you can make with Musician and Arcanite Magician here in just a second. So that's sort of the 6-card engine that allows you to do things that aren't specifically spellcaster or spellbook related. We play 1 Scapegoat. It manipulates our synchro plays a little bit, and if all else fails, it's defense. Foolish Burial, it actually triggers a couple of our monster effects. It sets up Necromocon. It sets up extra spellbooks to be removed with Gotha to then be recycled with Alma. Just all sorts of things. Staples, Reborn, Book of Moon, and then Draw Power. Triple Upstart. The more cards we can get in our hand, especially the more spellbooks at our hand, the more versatile plays we can make, and the more options we have at our disposal. So Upstart is absolutely awesome. And then Triple Wonder Wand. These give some of our monsters a bigger boost. If we sack them off, we can always bring them back with Necromocon. But what really gets fun is with Instant Fusion, you can always put Wonder Wand onto Musician King and then pop to draw 2. Similarly, if you use Musician King to go into Arcanite Magician, you can blow up 2 cards and then Wonder Wand it and pop it to draw 2 more. Which really lets the deck continue to cycle itself. It's really just endless. As well as a couple of the monsters. When you pop the draw 2, it's going to net a search off those as well. So I'll go ahead and get into our 8 Spellcasters Prophecy monsters. First off is Triple Junon, or High Priestess. You can reveal 3 of our 16 spellbooks that you might happen to have in your hand at any given point in time to special her for nothing else. And she's similar to Endymion. You can banish 1 spellbook card from your hand or graveyard to target 1 card on the field and destroy that target. Note if it's something that they're able to chain, it won't destroy it because it specifically says that target. But this allows you to pop off things like Deep Prison or Mirror Force, things like that. She's our boss monster. She's pretty much what we're using to win the game for us. So you really need to keep her alive or have options to bring her back and be able to abuse Junon as much as possible. Next up, we play Double Hangman. When Hangman is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 level 3 Prophecy monster from your deck to your hand. Now, he only has 2 things that he searches. Those are Temperance and Hermit. Now, where he gets cool, you can set him to let him get run over and search one of them. Or more so, Wonder Wand him. Draw 2, search. That's pretty much what his play is for. Now, when you go into Temperance, if you play the Spellbook card during the turn, you can tribute Temperance to Special Junon, is his purpose. Or with Hermit, whenever a Spellbook card is activated, you increase his level by 2, and he gains 300 attack. Where he really gets cool is with Spellbook of Power. You activate Power on him, and for the turn, he jumps to 2,500. Then you get to search a Spellbook when you run something over. At the end of the turn, he will still be level 5, but at that point he's only 1,500. But the level manipulation is awesome because he can go 3, 5, and 7 by using 0, 1, or 2 Spellbooks once he hits the field, which with your tuners off E-Tally gives you random access to Naturia Beast, Barkion, and Landois. Or at 5 and 7, you have access to Big Eye and Empress. If you banish Magician, which I'll talk about here in a second, to bring back, say, Temperance with Necromicon, and then play Hermit and activate a Spellbook, there you have 2 level 5s, which is what gives you access to the Empress. Now, she gains 300, so she comes out as a 26. You can detach material to shuffle your deck, reveal the top 5 cards, and then destroy a number of monsters on the field up to the number of revealed Spellbook cards. She is like Raigeki. It's absolutely freaking awesome. And then you get to put them back in any order, which is even more broken because you can set up the plays however you see fit, but you don't have to tell your opponent which order you put them back in either, which is really, really cool. It's sort of that off-chance play, but you've got room. If you can get Empress off, it's beyond amazing. If you go 7 with him, you can exceed with Junon into Big Eye just to steal things and attack, and it's awesome. But anyways, besides from those plays, the last monster in the deck is Magician of Prophecy. Whenever he's normaled or flip face up, so you can normal him or you can set him and let him get run into, you get to search for any Spellbook. One of the cards that Foolish works well with is Hangman. You can Foolish him to search for one of these two and then make whatever play you need to. So essentially you have a deck that can infinitely recycle itself and every card that allows it to be broken, while continuing to free special your boss monster just because you have the cards you want in your hand anyways, and then blow stuff up by banishing those cards, to then turn around and recycle them right back with Alma, to then banish that Alma for an effect. The deck has so many options. I'm kind of floored at how awesome it actually plays out. So let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate, subscribe. As a response to this video or as a link, post your guys' builds. I would love to start a discussion on this archetype and how it works and whatnot. See how your guys' builds compare with this one that I've been using. I'm sure a lot of builds, and even some that I've seen so far, really do look like some of those first 3 that I'd started out with. But to really make this archetype work, you really have to think outside the box, and this is outside the box. You do things with this deck that you normally would not think you want to do, but you gain so many pluses, it's really hard for your opponent to overcome. So again, let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate, subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Peace out.